Hi, I'm Lindsay Baumgren of Nourish Move Love, and today I am sharing 8 prenatal stretches for low back pain. Okay, so I am about 26 weeks pregnant at the tail end of my second trimester, and I've been hearing from a lot of other pregnant mamas one of the biggest common ailments is low back pain. So I'm going to take you through 8 of my favorite stretches to help alleviate that low back pain. So we're going to move through each stretch for around 40 seconds of work, and you can continue to hold it if you want to, or continue to work through this as you see fit for you. But basically, we're going to hold each stretch for around 40 seconds. It's going to round us out around 10 minutes of stretching together, and then you can always come back to this workout and use it as you choose. So we're going to jump right in. There's no warm up, no cool down. We're basically just stretching, and we're actually going to start by moving over to this pole. So you could take yourself to a wall that you have at home, but basically I'm going to come against this pole because it's a really great visual. So we're starting with TA belly breathing, or transverse abdominal breathing. So something you've probably heard of throughout pregnancy, but basically it's where inhale, my belly expands, exhale, my belly's going to contract. I'm going to use my transverse abdominals, which are the muscles that run alongside me like a corset, and they come together like this, like shoelaces do to a shoe, okay? So that's the muscles I'm focusing on. And so I'm adding this wall or this pole behind me so you can see this pelvic tilt that's happening at the same time. So inhale, belly expands. Exhale, pull the baby nice and tight, and then you'll see my slight pelvic tilt where my hips come stacked underneath the baby, underneath my rib cage. That's what we're looking for, okay? So belly breathing. We're going to work through this for 40 seconds. So big inhale. Exhale. Pull those shoelaces around your belly. Tilt the pelvic. Nice. And then do it again. Big inhale. Exhale. Pull the belly nice and tight. You'll see I'm using my hands. I like making that mind-muscle connection. Inhale, hands come apart. Exhale, hands come together like the abs contract across my body, and I tilt that pelvis underneath my rib cage to get my back as flat as I can against that wall. Big inhale, belly expands, and do it again. Exhale. Nice. We're going to do about 2 more big breaths here. Big inhale. Last one. Exhale. One more for the big finish. Big inhale. And exhale. Awesome job. So that is move number 1, and you're like, why did I do that for my back pain? And it's because we're working on strengthening our core and our transverse abdominals. That's really going to help take away that back pain that you commonly experience. So now we're actually going to come to a seated position. So you can find a chair or a bench. I'm going to take a nice wide leg stance here, make plenty of space for baby, and I'm just going to stretch side to side. So I'm pushing into one leg as I drop my shoulder. Back to center, same thing, other side. So I'm stretching through my adductors here, which are my inner thighs. Okay, so we're going to be stretching our adductors. We'll also be stretching our outer glutes and piriformis. They're all connected to my pelvis. There's actually the core is 29 muscles between my head and my pelvic floor. So I'm working on several core muscles that we're kind of releasing tension between, and the adductor is one of them. And so I'm just going to move side to side here. Nice. A lot of pelvic tilting and shifting happening during pregnancy. That's where you'll experience that sciatica, SPD pain. These are all great stretches for that. Nice. So you're going to come back to center. So that's our little inner thigh stretch. And now we're going to move to a seated piriformis stretch, or like commonly known as a pretzel or figure 4. So, or pigeon if you're doing it from the ground. But we're going to hit the piriformis, which is this outer glute muscle. So I'm going to take my right ankle and bring it across my left knee, and I'm going to just sit up nice and tall here, thinking about spreading my sit bones apart, the bones underneath that I'm sitting on, and I'm thinking about twisting my shin away from me. Shin is twisting away from me, and I'm just sitting up nice and tall. You're going to feel a nice stretch right here in this outer glute muscle, and then if you want to intensify it a little bit, you can pretend there's like a string pulling you forward, just a slight hinge forward right there, pulling my sternum forward, and I'm really going to get into this piriformis. So sciatica pain is one of the most common. That's actually the pain that I'm struggling with this 3rd pregnancy. I didn't have it with my previous 2, but I've been told that it's really important to keep your glutes loose during this time in this piriformis. So this is really important for that sciatica pain that you might be experiencing. So we're just going to hold here. Awesome. And then we're just going to switch it out and do the same thing on the other side. So I'm just going to switch legs. I'm going to bring the other ankle up to the knee. Same thing, I'm going to sit up nice and tall here, twist that shin away from me. Think about splitting my shin in half as I slightly pull my sternum forward, and I can just sit right here into this piriformis stretch. You can do this from the ground, from a half pigeon. Now you could also use this box that I'm sitting on and come over into a stance like this, and I could put that chin parallel, and I could sit just like this. So there's a lot of ways to take this stretch, to intensify this stretch. You choose what works best for you. This is a great way to intensify the stretch and not only get my piriformis, but also get my hip flexor of my opposing leg as well. So a lot of ways to do this stretch. It's one of my favorite stretches. I also have a foam roller here by my side, and I'll show you how we can foam roll out that piriformis at the end as well. So awesome work. Nice work. You're going to hold here for about 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then from here, we're going to come down to the ground, and we are going to go into a quadruped position. So I'm going to be on all fours. And this is just a really great way to roll out the spine. So I'm going to find a nice neutral spine, and then I'm just going to do that belly breathing again. So I'm going to drop the belly, big inhale, and then exhale. Pull the belly tight as my gaze comes down towards the baby, rounding out. Think about spreading my shoulder blades apart. Big inhale, belly drop. Big exhale. This tabletop position, a great way to relieve lower back pain while strengthening your deep transverse core muscles. Big inhale. And exhale. I've also been told, and I don't know the science behind this, but I've tried it and it does work, that if you do tabletop, this belly breathing in tabletop position before bed, and you do it for 2 minutes, it will alleviate the number of times you have to pee in the middle of the night, which, as you know, as you move into that second, third trimester, becomes a lot of peeing. Last one right here. So do that for 2 minutes before bed, and you won't have to get up in the middle of the night to pee. I don't know. You can't quote me on it, but I've heard that. Okay, guys, and then from here, we're actually just going to hold this tabletop position. I'm going to turn to the side. So I'm going to go tabletop. Knees are going to come nice and wide, big toes to touch. Push back, child's pose. Tabletop, push back, child's pose. And if child's pose feels really good for you, you can hold that for a little bit longer. And we're just going to flow through this. So you can join when you're ready. You're just alternating, pushing back into child's pose. Forehead can come to the mat, hands reach away. And then shifting forward into like a tabletop with a wide leg. So a little bit of almost a frog rock. Opening up the hips and then stretching through that low back. You could also take this up to an incline. I could place my hands right here and I could push back and forward and push back, getting a little bit deeper into that upper body here and forward. Do whatever feels comfortable for you. You're going to take one more. Awesome job. Nice work. And then from here, we're going to come into a kneeling hip flexor stretch. So we got the piriformis, and we got a lot of the back side of our body, opening up the back. And I also need to open up the anterior or front side of your body. So I'm going to come into just a kneeling hip flexor stretch. So I'm just going to kneel right here, and it's really about tucking that tailbone underneath me to open up this hip flexor right here. So I'm just going to open up this hip flexor. I could stay here in this half kneeling position. I could use this table to support me. I could push into this knee a little bit and slightly add a little rotation too to open that up. I could reach overhead and maybe add a slight side bend. Okay, and then ultimately I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So same thing, pelvic tuck right here. I can push into this knee. Now, if you're like not really feeling the stretch as much as you want to, my personal favorite way to intensify the hip flexor stretch is to come up. You could use a bed, a couch, a chair. Basically, I'm just putting one leg on it, and then I'm just sitting here like this. This is such a good hip flexor stretch. I really love the movement you get here. This is my favorite way to stretch my hip flexors right here, so I'm just gonna hold this. Really good way, totally safe for the belly, lots of room, so you can do that on both sides as well. And then from there, we are just gonna go into a nice forward hang. So you could grab a chair, whatever you have available to you. I'm gonna use this box. I'm literally just going to hang out here. So I'm literally just gonna take a nice wide stance with my feet. Hands are on the bench, and I am just hanging out here. Now I can sway side to side, add a little bit of movement here. And I'm just releasing all that tension in my low back. And I also like to think here, instead of just thinking, okay, all that tension in the low back, the hamstrings, think about relaxing your neck, relaxing your jaw, letting that tongue fall from the roof of your mouth. Just a total hangout right here. Really great opportunity to just hang out, release all that tension in the hamstrings, the back, the neck, the shoulders, all that tension that can build up. So you can hang out there in that forward fold position. You can even take your hands like I had back there on the pole, wrap your hands around the pole, get a little bit more into it, take it as deep as you want, and then I'm going to show you final stretches that I like to do with the foam roller. I get up every morning and do this stretch. So similar to that forward fold or that hang, I'm gonna do actually a nice little wide stance. It's like child's pose, but hips are gonna stay high, puppy dog. But I'm placing my hands on the foam roller just to get a little bit more extension to the low back and the spine. So that's one of my favorite stretches to use this foam roller for. And then because you're probably sleeping on your side more, your TFL, your side muscles right here, this piriformis, this glute, are gonna get a little bit tight. And like I said, we wanna keep those glutes loose. So just finding a nice side stance here. This leg's gonna go straight, and I can just roll into this glute muscle right here. I could take this leg over and just do a little bit of a roll. Right here, just rolling out that glute muscle. And then if I really want to get into my piriformis, which I can do, this is not one of my favorite, but I've been doing it because it's so good for you, but you're gonna find that figure 4 position, and then I'm gonna slightly tilt over, and I'm gonna roll, and you're gonna find that piriformis, and you're gonna know when you find it, trust me, and you're just gonna roll it out. It is so good, so painful, but so good. So a little side piriformis roll too. So foam rolling can go a long way into your pregnancy as well to help keep those glutes loose and help you avoid sciatica, SPD pain, and all that stuff that shifts throughout your pelvic floor as that relaxin sets in and that hip gets a little bit wider. So I hope that you found these low back stretches helpful, and I hope that you incorporate them into your routine and you can avoid pain, low back pain, sciatica, all the fun stuff that can come with pregnancy, but help you keep active and moving throughout your pregnancy. We have more workouts that will help you stay active throughout your pregnancy too, from first trimester exercises all the way to third trimester, strength, cardio, bar. We have all those prenatal workouts, you name it, you can carry it into postpartum, and we have full postpartum workout plans. You can find all this information at nourishmovelove.com. Thanks so much for checking out this stretching video. I hope it helps you, and I hope you have a safe pregnancy. We'll look forward to seeing you soon.